Hello my friends, welcome back to SilvaCast, welcome back to my channel. First of all, please check out this video.
5 palabras que pronuncias mal en inglés, parte 3. Minuto, minute, minute. Ten cuidado y no digas minute, no es minute, sino minute. Cuerpo, body.
What do you see? Do you see any difference? Do you see anything interesting? Well, this young guy is Jonas and this video has over 1 million views. And I'll share with you why. I will show you in this video the 5 key letters that will help you to unlock your English forever, how to improve your pronunciation skills, and how to develop the confidence to speak English naturally. But before we start, I have a quick reminder. Finally, my English speaking club is available now. So I will start to promote a few spots for those that want to be the first members. I'll put the link right below the video and you can join us with a special price. This price is going to be available for just a few days. So if you want to practice English with me and other colleagues and gain confidence, speak English with real confidence, I totally recommend you join us. And if you don't like it, you have a really good guarantee. Click the link and check it out. The guarantee is unbelievable. So if you want to be part of this and you are afraid of anything, just click there. You see that the guarantee, it's no risk for you. So just click the link below, check it out and join us, okay? Special price for a few days just for the founders, okay? So let's go, let's get started this amazing interview. Hello Jonas, how are you? Good to see you here. Thank you for accepting my invitation. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me here. It is a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine, and I just want to ask you, please, to introduce yourself for those that don't know you. Tell us who you are, where you live, what do you do, everything.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. So my name is Jonas or Jonas. Either way is fine. I was born and raised in Venezuela, but I've been living here in the US for almost 5 years now. And yes, so that's pretty much a little bit about myself. I've been living here for 5 years. And when I came here, I spoke no English. And I basically taught myself how to speak English by watching videos and yeah, things like that. Yes, absolutely.
Wow, this is amazing because you said that you moved 5 years ago and you didn't speak English at all. And right now you're speaking very, very well, fluently. How did you change from nothing in English to I speak English fluent now? So how was this experience and what did you do to just achieve this certain level in English?
Awesome. Yeah. So basically, like I said, when I came here, I spoke no English. Um, but yeah, I noticed that because when I came to to the US, I had to go to high school. I had to finish my last year of high school, which was senior. But the thing is, I was in a class with a bunch of Mexicans, with a bunch of people who only spoke Spanish, and that was a little bit of an issue, because I wasn't getting out of my comfort zone, Um, but then I realized that if I kept doing that, I wasn't gonna be able to achieve my goal, because I always wanted to learn how to speak English. And so basically what I did was I started watching videos and on YouTube, and I was like, man, I have to do something about this. Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to achieve my goals with the English language. And so, yes, I don't know if I can say any YouTube channels names because the first channel that I watched was Inglés Americano 101. That's the name of the channel. I don't know if you heard about that, right?
I have heard about it, yeah, for a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, by the way, a shout out to Daniel Manzano if he's watching this video. He helped me quite a lot with my English too.
Uh-huh.
Um, Well, yeah, that was basically it. That was the first channel that I watched, and I learned so much. I learned phrases that I could use every day, and then I found this amazing YouTube channel which is called You Talk TV. You might have heard about that one as well, right? I don't know. You might.
No, I just heard about it because I was seeing things about you, and then I saw in your website about this channel, and and I took a look, but I never heard about them before.
They are pretty awesome. Yeah, I highly recommend people learn English with them. But yeah, anyway, those were the two main channels that I used for me to learn English. And the main thing that I did was focus a lot on learning full sentences and putting words together when it comes to learning English. Because basically, with the traditional system or the traditional method, if you want to call it like that, we tend to learn English with just memorizing word by word, and just not doing anything to practice at all. And if you focus on full sentences, and if you teach yourself and you teach your brain to speak in full sentences, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to be fluent. Obviously it does take time, but that's the way to go. Yes.
Yeah, but I think in your case, it didn't took a lot of time, because I know people that study English for 10 years and they are not able to speak now. It's like, just because they are studying the wrong way, or going to English schools, traditional English schools, that they just have access to words, vocabulary, but they don't put together. It's not like there's no context, to and when you put your English in a context, and that you can use it in a I think it's so much better to learn, because you have not just vocabulary, not just grammar, but you have a way, a structure to use those words, those vocabulary. So I'm curious about something. You said that you moved to the US when you were like a teenager, like 17 years old, I think.
That's correct. Yes, exactly. You took a right guess. I was about 17. Well, I was actually 17 when I came to the US. Um, yeah, but before that, that's the funny thing. Before that, I was living in Colombia. I actually studied there for a year as well for high school. But then, yes, I came to the US. I'm actually living in Arizona. That's where I went to school. And yeah, so that's basically how that's where I started learning English in Arizona, and basically just teaching myself, like I said before. And yes, so that's how it happened, basically. And I'm still learning. It is an ongoing process when it comes to learning English.
It never ends. It never ends. I was thinking
Yeah.
about something. You said that you went to school, high school, and of course you need to speak English there, because you're surrounded to English everywhere. But you said also that you are surrounded to people that speak Spanish also. How
Hmm.
hard it is to learn English when you are surrounded people that don't speak the language that you want to speak? Uh, it is it hard? Is it easy? It helped you or not?
Honestly, it wasn't helping me out that much, because I was in that environment. People only spoke my native language, and I was embarrassed to even say a word in English. Um, but yeah, it is pretty tough. But basically, especially because the kids, those kids, they were just, you know, they were not interested in learning the language, and I don't know why. They were here in the U.S. with me, and they have been living here for, I don't know, for like 3 or 5 years. They were not able to speak English still, and I was like, okay, oh man, how can you, how can you live in the U.S. for so many years and or for so long and still not speak English, right? I mean, I don't want that to happen to me. So that's why I decided to, go ahead and do my best to learn to learn English. And yeah, and before that, I didn't even like English that much. I didn't like English
Same
that much,
here.
but yeah,
Same here.
and I had,
Actually, I hate
yeah.
it. I hate it when I was at school. I just hated English because I couldn't understand how can I use this in my life. So I was like, it doesn't make sense. And now, look at me. I'm here speaking in English, and uh, try to help other people to speak the language. So thank God things could change,
Thank
right?
God, yeah. Man, though, that's amazing, Fred. That's totally amazing. I mean, you're doing this amazing podcast on YouTube. You're helping a lot of people. You're interviewing a lot of amazing people. And I mean, I've seen a lot of your videos before, and I mean, that's hats off to you. Hats off to you. Me
Thank you.
quito el sombrero, no? Hats off. Hats off
Thank you
to you.
so much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure for me. It's really
Yeah.
a good thing for me, because speaking with people like you, like other people that I interview, I learn so much every day. I learn something new. And I think this is awesome, and this experience can help other people. So this make me so happy. And I was speaking with other speak Spanish people that speak Spanish for a while, and they told me the same thing you said about, I don't dare to speak in English because everybody speaks in Spanish close to me. I was interviewing a friend. She lives in close to San Diego, I think is Tijuana, Mexico. And she
Mexico.
said every time when she went to the US, she started to speak, but people noticed her accent and then they come back to her speaking Spanish because there are a lot of Mexicans there. And I think a lot of people, immigrants that speak Spanish, face the same problem in the US because a lot of people speak Spanish there, right? So they try to
So many
help you
people.
speak in Spanish, but you don't want to speak in Spanish. You want to speak in English. So sometimes could be a little tricky, right?
That's tricky. Yeah, that is a tricky situation. You have to somehow do your best to, it basically it's totally up to you. If you want to learn the language, it's your own effort. Yeah, because there's so many people that speak Spanish here in the United States. But yeah, but still, even though there are many difficulties, like the language barrier, for example, you can still make it. Even people who have been who live outside of the country, who live in like South America, or they can still achieve their goals with learning English, even if English is not spoken there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. I think right now, it's so much. I think right now it's so much easy to learn the language, English or another language, because of the internet. As you mentioned, you learn. Let's see, alone. You learn by yourself with YouTube videos. With you found the way to speak, right? And I don't know, 20 years ago, or it was not like that. It was really, really hard. You need to buy a dictionary. You need to push yourself so hard to speak another language. You didn't have access to movies in English because all the movies were translated to your language, like Portuguese, like Spanish, or another language.
Right.
And right now we have this amazing, content on the internet. You can learn from everywhere. For example, you didn't tell me, but you are an English teacher now, and you
That's
use the
correct.
internet to teach people, right? So I saw your Instagram, and it's there are a lot of good content there. You teach people tips and tricks to improve their English. So I think now everybody can do it because it's so much more easy. So could you tell us a little bit about your job, about your English content on the internet, and how can you do that? And what's your experience doing content to the internet?
I mean, it's been amazing so far. So basically, what I do there on social media, so to speak, is to replicate the way that I learned English. Just focusing on pronunciation, especially pronunciation and fluency, linking words, putting words together, because that's the way that I learned. And yeah, I feel like people are benefiting from that content, and people are like really happy with that. But yeah, so far, I think it's a very good way for you to share with others how English has helped you so much with in your life, because it is a very powerful language, especially English and Spanish. If they go hand in hand, they're going to help you quite a lot with life in general. They're gonna open uh, doors right and left. That's what I always try to get across to my audience through my content as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And tell me a little bit about the type of content that you have. You told me that you try to connect fluency and the structures of words that you can use together. So what the type of content that you teach there? I saw on your Instagram you have over than 100,000 followers. That's amazing. And I think those tips are very, how can I say, are short but very precise. You
Okay.
can just learn
Yeah.
and use it immediately. So, what's the type of content that you produce, and who is the people that is benefit about that are benefit about that?
Well, I think basically everybody is making the most of my content, you know? So basically the tricks that I teach, I learned them from this channel, You Talk TV. They basically taught me everything that I teach. And of course, I'm not gonna take the credit because they taught me all those things. Um, but yeah, I feel like those tricks are helping a lot of people because the better you pronounce, and this is something You Talk to Me says as well, the better you pronounce, the better you're going to be able to understand. Because what happens if you have a bad pronunciation, so to speak? If you say, like, for example, if you wanted to say, what are you talking about? But imagine if you didn't pronounce it like that. Imagine if you said, what are you talking about?
Uh-huh.
It's way different from what are you talking about? The T of what becomes a soft R in Spanish, and if you put it all together, it sounds like water. What are you talking about? So for your brain, it's going to be way more difficult to understand native speakers when you have a bad pronunciation. When you say "What are you talking about?" and then when you hear what you're talking about, it's like a completely different language. That's why it's
It
very
is.
difficult for us to
It
understand
is.
people.
I agree with you. I think is this is just a teeny difference.
Yeah,
However, it makes a lot of difference when you're talking to somebody, because
yeah,
I think the perception of the other person is better, because okay, this guy speaks very well. And if you are working in the US, for example, I think it's so much more important, because think about it. If you are working to somebody and it's in English, you need to understand them, and you need to be
right.
understood by them as well. I was talking to a friend these days, and she said that she had a problem with a person that was working for her, because she gave an structure. That person said that understand, but because of the accent or the pronunciation, the person didn't
Yeah.
understand her. So, and the job was did in the wrong way just because of a misunderstanding.
Oh, wow, that's pretty bad, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
misunderstanding right now.
Because right, I'm here speaking with you. I'm in Brazil. You are in the US, and if I make a mistake like this, not a problem. But when you live in English, when you have to work in the language, using the language, things could be a little bit more serious and complicated, right?
Right, right, absolutely. You have to be very accurate with those tiny little details,
Yeah,
and just
yeah,
try to do your best, and yeah. And obviously we're all gonna make mistakes. We're not perfect, but yeah, as long as you make as long as you do your best, yeah, that's what matters.
yeah. And one thing that caught my attention in your case is you kind of lose your accent, because I know people that are from Venezuela and they speak English a little bit different than you, and that means that you did a great job, learning the language. So how
Thank
do
you.
you work in this pronunciation thing? Do you have any exercise that you teach to your students? How can you achieve this type of uh, achievement?
Yeah, that is a great question. Um, so yeah, basically that what I did was I focused on pronunciation. That was my main priority. Pronunciation is key because, like I said, it helps you understand better. Um, but yeah, I learned that with again with You Talk TV, and they have a really good method, which is the 5 key letters with the English language, and those 5 key letters are the R, the L, the SH, the GJ, and yeah, GJ sound, and the short I. So basically, if you do your best and you master those 5 key letters, you're going to be able to sound very close to a native speaker. You're going to sound very similar to them. Only by mastering those 5 key letters, that is amazing. And I realized that when I focused on those 5 key letters, and yeah, I mean, obviously my English is, I mean, obviously it's getting better. Um, but yeah, I noticed that when I learned those 5 key letters, I I was able to see a big difference. Yes, that's basically how I did
Okay,
it.
I'm curious now about this 5 key letters. So could you explain, give an example of how to use it?
Oh, yeah. So basically, those 5 key letters are very important because they're everywhere, you know? They're pretty much everywhere when you speak English. Like, for example, the R is pretty much everywhere. Like, if you wanted to say, like, same sentence, "What are you talking about?" How many R's are there? There
Yeah.
are a lot of them. "What are you talking about?" Well, there's 1 R there, but it's pretty common, you know? And also, and especially the short I, which is called in Spanish, I corta, right? Short I. And the problem with that letter is that we tend to pronounce it like an E sound. Like, for example, instead of saying it is what it is, we Spanish speakers, we tend to say it is what it is, which is not bad. You know,
Ah,
people can understand you. But the problem is when you hear it is what it is, it's going to be a lot easier for you to understand them because you're replicating the same sound. And yes, and also there are semi-key letters, which are it's pretty there's a lot of tricks that they share, but basically, the T becomes a soft R in Spanish. Like, for example, it is what it is. The T sounds like a soft R, like era, like Maria, that sound in Spanish. So it is what it is instead of it is what it is. But yeah, that's basically those little details. Those details are very tiny, but once you pay attention to those, they're gonna make a huge difference in your with your English. Yes.
yeah, I think this is the reason I like the most American English. I prefer American English than British English because this type of things for me, it makes more, I think, natural to speak. Like, for example, the word water. Like,
Water.
it's hard to say water. It's harder than to say water.
Yeah.
However, it sounds very natural, like it's in a flow, you know. It's different. So I like this sound in English, like water, I don't know, responsibility, things like this, because I think,
Opportunity.
yeah,
Yeah.
opportunity. And I think a lot of people have problem with this sound. If I'm
Mhm.
not wrong, is the flat T, I think. And
Yeah, yeah.
I saw a lot of people struggling with that, but when they find the right way to see, as you mentioned, using like an R in Spanish,
Like a software, yes.
yeah, they get the point, and then they start to speak so much better, and
Mhm.
people better, for example. And you know, I don't know what happens, but when you use the words in this way, you feel so confident because you feel like, I'm speaking like a native. I'm speaking so much better now. So I think this is really really good when you notice this nuances of the sound, because you know we have our own language that influence the our English too. For example, in Portuguese, we are tempted to say, for example, the word Facebook. We are tempted to say Facebook, because in Portuguese we,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind
Okay.
of weird, but people, when I see somebody speaking in English and use this word in from Brazil, I notice that, okay, this guy is from Brazil because of
You can
this.
tell right away this person is from Brazil, right?
Yeah, for example,
Yeah.
coffee. People say
Uh-huh.
coffee, coffee, you know,
Yeah, like an
coffee.
O, right? Like an O, coffee instead of coffee, right?
Yeah, yeah. These little nuances help us to know, okay, it's from Brazil, it's from, I don't know,
Yeah.
from Mexico, or things like that. But I think when you find these little details about the language, about the sounds, it make us to be more, of course, aware about the words, and then we can start to be more confident, because every time when I notice that my English is, it's, I'm pronouncing the words correctly in the way that I want, uh, as an American, for example, I get so much more confident. It's a kind of a thing that make me more, how can I say,
Confident
give
and
me,
yeah.
yeah, give me more confidence to continue to speak. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important.
Yeah. I mean, pronunciation gives you a lot of confidence, you know, once you reach the level of pronunciation that you
Yeah.
want, and such a that is such a good thing, you know?
But let
Yeah.
me ask you this question. Did you are concerned about your pronunciation since the beginning, or you start to speak the language and then you notice that you need pronunciation?
I focused on pronunciation right from the start. That's
Ah,
I yeah, I realized how important it was right from the beginning. And Yes, because I really love the pronunciation. And because I couldn't imagine myself speaking like, like it is what it is, or imagine
Uh-huh.
my Jonás or things like that. It's kind of funny, but some people speak like that. I'm not making fun of anybody here, so
Of course,
don't
of
take it
course.
like that. But yeah, I didn't want to speak that way. Um, I wanted to do my best to speak as closely as possible to a native speaker's pronunciation. Yes.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, it was the opposite because at the beginning, I just want to talk. I just want to speak the language. And I didn't focus on pronunciation. I won't say at all, but I just focus a little bit. However, I start to notice, okay, I need pronunciation because my English is okay. My English is okay. I can speak. I am confident. I don't have any problem to speak with anybody. However, sometimes I'm speaking, the other person are like, like I can see that
They have a hard
it's
time understanding you
yeah,
too. Yeah.
it's a little bit complicated to understand some words or something. And then I start to think about I need to focus in my pronunciation, and I start to do it this year. I said to
Mhm.
myself, I talked to myself, this year I will focus only my pronunciation because I want to master it. I want to speak so in a different way. So and then I start to focus on that. So it was a little bit different than you because I I start not thinking about this so much, but uh, yeah, right now I need pronunciation because I need to improve this aspect of my English because I'm exposing myself here, so I don't want to be like I'm sorry,
Right.
I don't yeah I don't want to be like okay I'm here try to help other people, so I need to be like an example, so I need to
Yeah, you need to
improve this
set an
aspect
example
that
for other people. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I mean, it really sounds really beautiful when you pronounce well, that's the
Thank you.
beauty of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really important. Pronunciation, fluency. Um, yeah, that gives you instant value, when you learn how to pronounce words correctly. And it also helps you others understand you um more like better, yeah, more easily. Yes.
For sure, for sure. And how about grammar for you? Is it so important to study grammar or not?
Oh, that is a very good question. Well, grammar, for me, grammar really comes with practice,
Uh,
Of course, at the beginning, you're not gonna be able to speak like perfectly. And even today, we make mistakes, like with grammar. Even in a native language, we have to be like, oh, what did I say? I have to correct myself. But yeah, grammar, it is very important at the beginning, but the most important thing is to put it into practice. Don't focus on like reading grammar, like doing those exercises, and then when you go to speak, this is going to you have a hard time, that doesn't really help out if you focus a lot on reading English, like grammar, and doing those exercises. I'm saying this because that's very common in our schools and in our countries. For example, the traditional way, we're always taught to learn English in a very, bad way, so to speak, like written English and grammar and those exercises. They don't help you. Honestly, they don't help you. Well, that's the way it is.
I
Yes.
agree. I think they don't help us at all to improve because even in our mother language, we don't study grammar at the beginning, right? When you are a kid, you
Exactly.
didn't go to the Spanish grammar book and start to learn. Okay, here I use I need to put an I instead to put a y,
An
for
accent or
example.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't work like that. And I think in English it's the same. And I think this is the reason a lot of people just give up to study the language because they feel like this is so hard for me. I can't understand why I use I don't know why I use
The
in
wrong and
instead to use on
yeah,
or
exactly.
at or things like that. It's hard at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
beginning. However, when you are using the language and you are talking to other people, you start to notice, okay, here I need to use in, here I need to use at, there I
Yeah.
need to use on, or whatever it is. because you start to see, as kids do when they are kids, they just repeat what they are hearing.
Listening to,
So
yeah,
yeah, I think that is the better way to learn grammar in the context and using the language.
in a natural way.
So
Yeah,
sorry,
in a natural way.
in a natural
Yes.
way. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because I tell you what, a kid has no idea about grammar, you know?
No,
They're just exposed to the language. They're just listening, 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 and then after a while they start speaking and they don't care about making mistakes. And then
yeah,
they just keep going
and I
and
think
they
right.
speak.
Sorry, and I think right now, if you go outside and stop somebody at street, a native English speaker, and ask them, why do you use at? Why do you use in the sentence? They don't know. They just know
They don't
I
know,
need
right?
to use it because I didn't learn why. I just learned to use this in the language. So it doesn't make sense for me
Yeah, exactly. You know, yeah, it all comes down to learning grammar in a very natural way. That's
in a natural way.
my piece of advice, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that to use the language is the best way to learn. So you need to
Yeah.
put yourself out there. And how about mistakes? You said that you even now you make mistakes, but in the past, of course, you made so much more mistakes than you are doing now. So how do you deal with mistakes in your English learning journey?
Honestly, nowadays, I don't even care about them that much. I just try to, because mistakes are your best teachers, you know? You realize when you make a mistake and you're like, "Okay, next time I'm not gonna say it like this," and then you just correct it and just you're aware of it. And that's something that I always try to get across as well to my audience through my videos, that basically the last video that I uploaded is about that as well. I said, "Don't worry about mistakes, of course, try to correct them, try to be aware of your mistakes, but don't beat yourself up just because you made a mistake. You know, just try to do your best, and you're very brave. You know, because learning another language is not something that everybody will do. You know,
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you should congratulate yourself for that. Yes.
I totally agree with you. I usually say that mistakes are our better English teacher because you can learn
Hmm.
from them. But a lot of people just, you know, they feel very bad when they notice that they are making mistakes or something, and then they get more shy, more quiet, and they don't want to open their mouth. I
They're
think
like,
because
"Oh
we,
my God, I made a mistake." They're like, "Oh."
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I think this come from our English, sorry, our education. It's built like this because you are at school, for example, you are not able to make mistakes. You are taught to give the right
Speak
answer.
perfectly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when you are right, you are reward. But when you are wrong, you are punished. So I think this doesn't help us to improve because we think that mistakes are so bad, so we are afraid to make it. And in my own experience, when I stop to think about this, when I just decide to speak, and I start with Spanish when I was learning Spanish a few years ago. I start to do, record videos and speak in Spanish with my broke Spanish. I was not good at speaking Spanish at that time. However, I noticed that my mistakes doesn't matter. I just need to continue to study. Of course, correcting those mistakes that I am aware. But if I don't know how to say a word properly, I can I can say close to that, but I can't
Mhm.
communicate myself, right?
Yeah, making yourself understood. Yeah, and also asking the other person as well if you're in doubt. You know, like, hey, how do you say this? Especially asking a native speaker. That's something I used to do, and even today I still do that. That really helps out. Yeah,
Feedback. You ask for a feedback, right?
yeah, asking for feedback. Yeah, hey, how do you pronounce this? I forgot. How do you say this and that really just be curious about the language. You know, just try to you know be aware and ask questions. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think this helps us a lot. Uh, of course, good feedbacks because sometimes people not sometimes, but we can see people afraid of, of being judged for by natives or by other people, and then they don't speak because they are afraid to be judged. And I don't know in your experience living there in the US, but I think people don't care so much about this, right?
No, especially native speakers, they don't even care. They just want to understand you. That's it. They
Exactly,
don't.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But people are terrified about to speak with natives. They are like, oh, it's native. I can't make a mistake because they speak perfectly. And they are not
Yeah,
thinking about this. They are interested in what you want to say, not in the words you use. If you can make them understand you, I think it's the purpose of the communication, right?
that's what communication is about. It's about communicating your ideas and your message, your speech with other people.
For sure. And how
Mhm.
did you develop that confidence to speak in English? I am asking this because you just start to learn the language 5 years ago, and I know you face a lot of challenges in your journey. But confidence doesn't is a thing that a lot of people don't have. Like they sometimes they know the language, but they are not confident to speak. Yeah, how did you develop that confidence?
Well, that is another good question. Honestly, I don't know. It's just focusing. Like I said, I always say the same thing, but focusing on pronunciation and try to be positive about things. When you improve your pronunciation, when you listen to yourself. Actually, this is something that I do today as well. This is something I also recommend. Try to record yourself when it
Yes,
comes to learning another language. And when
I
you
love
record
that.
yourself, and when you see yourself, when you see a video of yourself and speaking another language, you're like, oh wow, who is this guy? This guy is speaking so well. And like obviously at the beginning, it's not gonna be like that. But once you see yourself from a different perspective, you're gonna be like, oh wow, I should be proud of myself. Many years ago, I didn't even know how to say a word in English, and now I can record myself in another language. So that's something you should be proud of.
My opinion about this is I think the main thing you could do to improve your English is record yourself. I'm speaking
Mhm.
this because I did that before, and I see people. I have a friend from Italy. She started to record herself 4 months ago. She said that, Fred, I didn't speak English at all, nothing, zero. She,
Uh-huh.
of course, she knows a little bit about the English, but she didn't speak at all. And she started to
Mhm.
record one video a day, one video every day, every day. And right now she is in the day 145 in a
145.
row without any pause, every day, every day. And I
Uh,
told her, think about your English in 1 year from now, how it's going to be.
mm.
Because she's
Yeah,
diligent. She's doing every day, every day. And you start to see that's not a big of deal. Speak English. It could be easy if you do the right thing. If you put yourself out there, if you're really committed to improve, and if you maintain the consistency, right?
yeah, consistency is key, absolutely, just being consistent and, like, she did that for such a long time, but she was consistent and that wow,
Consistent.
hats off to her, that's amazing.
Me too. Me too. I got like I'm very committed with my English and everything, but I think I'm not able to record myself for so long every day without pause every day. And this
Yeah,
is, I told her it's impossible you don't improve like this. It's impossible because you're doing something every day. Like every day you are getting closer to your goal to speak a better English. And I tell everybody, record yourself. It's a good way to improve even if you don't want to show to another person, you just record to yourself. However,
yeah,
if you show to other people that can support you, it's going to be better because you see that something changed here, and everything's going to be easier after that.
totally, yeah, that's amazing, yes, recording yourself, even if not a lot of people are gonna see it, just even if you just see it yourself, that's what matters, because the only competition is with yourself, like,
Yeah,
that's basically what it is.
good
Yes.
thing. compare yourself in the past, not with others. I think is important too, right?
Yes.
And of course, if you compare your English now with your English in the beginning, you will be very proud of yourself because you
Yeah.
see how much you improve. Few days
Yes. You'll
ago,
be able to see it. Yeah. Go
few
ahead.
days
Sorry.
ago, oh sorry, few days ago, I saw my first video speaking with a native in English, and I got
Uh-huh.
shame about it because man, it was a completely different person. I was shy, I was uncomfortable, but I'm proud of this because it was my first one, and then I start to do it again and again and again. And of course, I have a lot of things to improve yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I can see that comparing myself today with yesterday and before, I'm improving. So I think this is the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Stick with it. Stick with the process, and you're gonna achieve your goals.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
I have one question that I ask for everybody that I interview. That is, if you could give one piece of advice to those people that are stuck, they want to speak English, but they don't see any improvement. They are stuck at the same level. What you would say?
Oh, what would I say? Huh. That is a very
One
good
thing,
question.
just one thing that is the most important in your.
One thing. Okay. Uh, well, I was gonna say two things, but I'm gonna sum it up in one thing, in one word. Um, well, maybe not in one word, but the key word is belief. Believe in yourself. You can make it.
Amazing.
You can make it. I mean, I'm not a native speaker of English, and well, and I'm not like bragging about anything, you know. Just I did my best. I came here without knowing any English, and I achieved this level. And if I did it, you can do it too. I mean, that's basically how you can make it. Just believe in yourself.
Amazing. I love it. I think this is the key. Believe in yourself and
Hmm.
do the right thing. Yeah, good. And how about the second? I'm curious about it. You said that two things.
Oh yeah, well, I was gonna say, don't be afraid and believe in yourself. That's what I was. That's what I was gonna say. So that would be the second word. Don't be afraid. Yeah, boy, yeah, basically.
Well, Jonas, please, if if they want to find you, what they can go just to know more about your social medias and where they can find you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So they can find me on Instagram and on YouTube as well. They can look up Inglés Real con Jonás. Especially if you're a Spanish speaker, you're going to benefit a lot from my content. Um, And yeah, there's also a link on my Instagram account that's going to take you to my website. It's also going to give you more details and information about the course that I took with You Talk to Me, also
Mhm.
with my name. That'll give you a discount if you're interested in learning English just like I did or better, because it's not impossible. You know, you can speak like me or even better. I'm pretty positive about that. So yeah, that's how you can do it. You can find me there. Also on Facebook as well. Inglés Real con Jonás. That's how you can find my name.
Yeah, and the good thing about your content is if a person is like a beginning, they can learn from you because you speak in Spanish with your audience, so it's more easy to understand. If they don't
Yes.
speak English like in a level to understand just in English,
Mhm.
they can start with the content that is more basic, and then they can go and see something more advanced. So yeah, those tips are very powerful, and I think it will help a lot. I'll put the link on right below in the description. And guys, go there and watch the videos. The videos are amazing. Are short videos, but you can just learn and use it immediately because they are very precise. Okay. So, Jonas, if you want to say something, please let me know. I am so excited and I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation. And I
Well,
learned a
thank you.
lot from you today. And I hope my audience can learn so much from you too. So if you want to say something, please go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, Fred, thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. You're doing such a great job. Yes, this is great stuff. I really love this stuff. I really love having these conversations, and yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you so much. And I hope we can talk in another opportunity. And my friends, thank you so much for being here with us today. So if you didn't subscribe to the channel yet, please click below, subscribe to the channel, like the video as well. And I think we'll see in the next video. So God bless all of you and see you there. Bye-bye.